In a recent interview with series creator Akira Toriyama and Dragon Ball Super manga illustrator and artist Toyotaro, we discovered that Dragon Ball Super may indeed be continuing for quite some time beyond the God of Destruction Champa / the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament arc. So on this video, I will provide 5 theories / predictions for what the next arc of Dragon Ball Super, the next saga of Dragon Ball Super, might end up being like. Be sure to check out my Facebook page and interact with me directly there over at Geekdom 101 on Facebook. I'll leave the link down below. The whole community has been abuzz ever since the Toriyama interview came out, and I have a video with Herms on this channel, which I will link down below, where we break down the interview and tell you exactly what was said and what it could mean. However, on this video, we're going to take all the data that we have and come up with 5 possible future sagas or future arcs following the God of Destruction Champa arc / Universe 6, Universe 7, you know, the stuff going on now. So, joining me on this video, he is the new kid on the block as far as theories go. As you know, QAAMAN and LaughingStock Media and a bunch of guys have been doing theories for a while. This guy does the new kind of well thought out, kind of intellectual fan fiction theory idea guy. Please welcome Reel2Reel.
Hey, Geeked, I'm really glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And everybody go check out Reel2Reel's channel if you like Dragon Ball theories. He's, like I said, the next crop of theorists, because Reel2Reel's theories actually go a little farther than a lot of other theorists in our community. There's a lot of theorists in our community, but Reel2Reel kind of sometimes will write an entire book worth of ideas. And you know, and Reel2Reel, you are a filmmaker, so I mean that's kind of part of what's in your blood, I suppose.
Yeah, majored in producing, film writing, screenwriting, and all that stuff. It comes naturally to me.
Great. Well, we're gonna talk about, like I said, we're gonna take all this information that we have and come up with 5 possible or likely or whatever theories / I don't know, speculation.
They're kind of fan. Some of them are basically kind of fan theories too, just like stuff that we've seen and would really like to see.
Yeah, some of these are taken from all of you guys. So the first one I want to talk about in our 5 theories of the upcoming Dragon Ball Super arc is Monaka. The big talk is that since we know that Monaka's an amateur, that it's possible that Monaka may indeed steal the Super Dragon Ball's wish and make himself powerful and become the next villain, because a lot of people in my comment section and all over YouTube, as well as the Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, everywhere, they've talked about how Monaka is not just going to be a wasted character. Toriyama may have bigger plans for him. What do you think?
Oh no, I definitely think he actually is going to be someone who actually becomes important to some degree, whether it's basically in a joke sense or whether he is kind of really strong. I mean, we actually saw Goku basically just throw a punch. He took that punch like a freaking tank. And you know, we've seen this actually before in Dragon Ball Super to someone who became like kind of relevant before he was written off, just be like a joker to bring back Ginyu, with Tagoma, with being a complete tank, being able to take Frieza's like total hits, killing everyone around him. He was an interesting character, and maybe they're trying to take that with Tagoma as well, or not Tagoma, I'm sorry.
Monaka.
Monaka, yeah. Maybe he's trying to take with Monaka as well, where he just kind of comes in. He's a tank. We've seen him. No one could take that punch with Goku. If we saw earlier in Dragon Ball Super, like they made it a point to have an episode where Krillin takes a punch from Goku at full strength in his base form, and you know, it just destroyed Krillin. But Monaka just kind of couple tears and whatever. The question is, why is he even here? Honestly, why is he even here if he doesn't have a motive for himself? And it can't just be Beerus wanting to take Vegeta and Goku and make them actually try harder. Why would he put his whole team up there? Like, why would we just write off not only one character like him, but also Boo and Piccolo as well? I definitely see there's a point where Monaka can be a villain.
Yeah, and I think the idea of somebody stealing the Super Dragon Balls and making a wish kind of from underneath the Champa or Beerus's under their nose has been talked about for Hit, a few other people. I could totally see Monaka doing it, maybe even as an accident. Or hey, maybe even Boo. I mean, he was promised the wish, right?
Yes, exactly. That's what I've been saying, man. He's promised that wish, and he's been asleep. That dragon being summoned is going to wake him up.
Yeah, I can't. Well, we don't even know where he's been. He might be taking the longest shit in Dragon Ball history, bro. Longer than the one Roshi took in the Vegeta sagas. Who knows? All right, number 2, Goku and Vegeta, after this arc is over, are going to be traveling to other universes to prevent the Goku versus Beerus rematch. Now, we have heard, obviously, since Battle of Gods, of the 12 universes, you decided to add another layer to this with what you told me before we started recording this, that it's now no longer about them just seeking out greater opponents. You think there's another layer that possibly Beerus might be trying to prevent the Goku-Beerus rematch because of what Beerus saw out of Goku in the tournament and the potential he has to possibly beat him one day.
Oh yeah, man. If you look at how Beerus was when he was really nervous, looking at that Kaioken, it's one of these things where I definitely think that what he's going to do after this tournament, especially if everything goes like all chummy as it's been going throughout all of Super, then there's definitely a possibility where they have this cube, they have this freaking MacGuffin of a device that will allow them to go from universe to universe in that sense. And it's definitely possible that Beerus, to some degree, starts giving Goku and Vegeta some task to do in Universe 8 or Universe 9, 12 or something, where they have to go in and take care of something or go get him something in order to prevent this match. And definitely, it's one of these things where I think he is definitely very scared of refighting Goku, especially with the Kaioken times 10 with the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan that he's never fought before. He's kind of been sitting on his ass for like the last 2 years in this timeline, at least a year or so he's been sitting on his ass letting these guys do his bidding, do it, like change him in his sleep, and now he's sitting there realizing that these guys are basically stronger than him. And he's going to prevent it.
We don't know if they are based on the Toriyama interview, but they might become at some point. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this as well. I did a video with Dino a few weeks ago where we talked about Hit, and I always thought it was possible that maybe Hit could steal the cube and then use the cube to go to another universe, because the cube can traverse between universes. Mm-hmm. So it's possible that after all this is over with and everything's all wrapped up and nice, Hit's like, fuck it, steals the cube, and then Goku and Vegeta have to chase after him with Whis' cube. Because there's 2 cubes, one that Whis has and one that Vados has. Maybe that's going to be the story. Maybe then we'll see another villain, or maybe it'll be Hit himself, because that kind of popped in my head as well.
Exactly, and Toriyama did say that he is excited to kind of showcase other universes in that interview, something to that degree. Am I right?
I don't remember him saying that unless talking about a different interview.
Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. I thought he was saying that there was something about going into other universes. He's excited to show other universes, but he might have been talking about exploring Universe 6. So
yeah, he was initially. That is what he said. But you're right, dude. Why would he say 12? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and why would he make the cube?
The cube, yeah. There's something up with the cube. And again, Toriyama, he's not the best writer ever, but he does have a lot of really great ideas without question. Number 3. ZARAMA, the Dragon God, possibly being the villain. Little bit GT-ish, I guess you can say. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, in terms of ZARAMA, the one thing we just don't know is whether he's good or bad. We honestly don't know whether he's a dragon form, a small little dragon, or some kind of humanoid type of dragon. But what we do know, especially if we look into Dragon Ball Z, and I do want to let everyone know that this is kind of fan theory, fiction-y headcanon. But, when we look at Dragon Ball Z, what we've learned is the Dragon Balls come from the Namekians, and looking at the Namekians, especially when we meet them, they're just incredibly, the drought that's killed a lot of them, Frieza and everyone comes looking for the Dragon Balls, looking for that particular wish and the power that these things possess. These things are more of a curse than a blessing or a gift in that sense. And maybe the Namekians are cursed in that because they actually came into contact with these things and used their power for their own greedy needs. What if when they raise ZARAMA or something, he ends up being just a complete villain who's been trapped in these Super Dragon Balls for an eternity, and now that he's free, he just basically takes up revenge or wants to rule the universe or something.
That's like every Final Fantasy storyline wrapped up into one, right? That's what it sounds like, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. They sealed him away, and now he's free.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, yeah, definitely, because why even bring this up? If he's not going to be evil and he's just going to be kind of a side character, that's funny for a joke. But wouldn't it be interesting to see ZARAMA be a complete badass and not afraid of Beerus, like we've seen Shenron or Shenlong actually be twice now, not afraid?
That would be great, yeah. And then maybe he's so bad that it takes the combination of Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, Whis, Vados, Champa, and Hit all together to stop this guy. That would be great. I really would like all these guys to team up against some huge army that Zarama or some other villain can concoct.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I would like to see more of these guys. I really would. All right, number 4. This is one that's been talked about by a lot of commenters. Dragon Ball Nation did a video about it. Vados as the secret villain with white hair. What do you think, Reel2Reel?
Well, I actually did this video a couple months back, and I have to say that while everyone's sitting around going, oh, Vados is acting shady and everything, they're not really looking at it a lot in context. We've seen bits and pieces from this from the very beginning. I actually like to laugh. If you look at the promotional art that they first showed with Champa has the earth on his finger, you see this thing, and literally, like, Vados is right under his nose. And I just think that's, like, really, like, on the nose type of, like, she's this person hiding under her nose the whole time. Because in chapter 3 of the manga, he's like, make sure no one's watching us. But we've seen Whis be able to know whoever's watching him at any time as long as she's staying vigilant. And she's obviously doing that. She alerts him immediately. She lets the Kaioshin get away with actually taking the Dragon Balls without Champa knowing that they're looking for the Dragon Balls. In chapter 6, but
just for the record, that's all in the manga. That wasn't in the anime.
Yes, this is not in the anime. This is in the manga. In chapter 6 of the manga, we see it was actually Vados who enticed Champa to fight Beerus because Beerus stole his cake or whatever like that. And Whis comes up to her and he's just like, did you do this on purpose? And she's like, foo, 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 foo. She laughs. And like she's doing this on purpose because she's testing the limits, because... So
do you think that she's like a Harley Quinn kind of anarchist, or do you think she has like sinister motives? Because I feel like if there's a character who's that powerful like Vados, what does she have to fear? Why doesn't she just fuck people up just for the fun of it, you know?
Well, part of me feels like there is something with their... just like the closeness of Champa and Vados or Whis and Beerus. Maybe there's a reason that they have to stay kind of connected to each other and they really can't leave each other for any extended period of time. And maybe the way of getting rid of that is actually through the Super Dragon Balls. I always like to say, like, visually, it would be really interesting if the ring that's floating around them is actually their bond to whatever. And as soon as like that breaks, like they can do whatever the fuck they want. But the thing is what if, like, and it says in the manga too that Champa's been looking for these things for over decades. He's been looking for these balls decades, and he's willing to give it up on this wish for Earth.
He's willing to give it up for ramen noodles, folks.
Yeah, he's willing to give it up. But when he says that in the anime, Vados just goes, Champa-sama. Like, she gets mad, dude. Like, she wants to, like, beat his ass for saying that stuff.
She's fucking hot is what she is. Be real about it.
So if she's the one, if the white hair thing is whatever, and he doesn't say that, we should make a point that it's not the hair that he's saying is what would clash. It's just the appearance, the general aesthetic.
Yeah, the hair is where people got confused about because of white hair. But yeah, but she just does happen to have white hair. But she's not the only one.
No, and we'll get to those people.
Yeah, that's gonna bring us to the next one now. Number 5. The big one is the integration of Dragon Ball Xenoverse / Dragon Ball Online characters, MIRA, TOWA, and Time Patrol Trunks. Your thoughts on the possible integration? Very popular fan theory. I mean, people are almost convinced this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And I've actually come up with like a step-for-step thing. I'm sorry if this takes a long time, but bear with me. Essentially, in the next episode, we're going to see them lose, or Universe 6 lose. Champa get mad. Before he's able to kill anyone, Monaka steps in. And because Monaka's from the planet of the sweets, he goes and they're able to strike a deal where, like, Champa gets Monaka's planet because he definitely has a sweet tooth over Beerus's ramen noodle savory tooth or something like that. So they strike out a deal. Beerus gets the wish. They summon the dragon, which is huge. It eclipses both universes and everything, which draws the attention of all the other 10 universes.
That would be awesome.
Theory. This is a fan theory.
You're making me wet right now, but go ahead.
Okay, so they do that, but in the interim, like before Beerus can actually get his wish, because of all this is going on, it actually wakes Boo up. He gets up, he goes to the wish, because they promised him, like we talked about, he makes the wish for Hercule. Beerus gets mad, but what can you do? And after all this is after all this is going on, like you said, Hit takes the cue from all this distraction, leaves with the cube, goes into another universe, 8, 9, whatever, and he goes in, and he actually hits or comes into contact with Towa, who's in that universe, and instead of killing him, she just basically takes him out and steals his DNA to make MIRA. Because if we remember from Xenoverse,
what you're doing is you're retelling the Xenoverse storyline, but not doing a direct adaptation, correct?
Exactly, and I think that's the only way Super can actually do this in terms of
because the time travel works different in the anime and the manga than in Xenoverse, so that kind of makes sense. You're basically picking characters out from the Dragon Ball extended universe, like in Star Wars, and you're putting them into quote canon or whatever you want to call it, right?
Exactly, and you have to take what works with that character and make them go into that story.
Now, are they going to have Fu? Are they going to have a son?
No. Like, I don't think you go that far, because I feel like it, because she is, if I'm not mistaken, you can tell me, she makes MIRA. Towa makes MIRA with the DNA. And he uses DNA from all the other fighters. So by giving him Hit's DNA, which this guy like Zenkai Boost like a madman.
Yeah.
And MIRA having that ability while also taking everyone else's DNA, be like kind of cell style, would make him a force to be reckoned with, even with Champa, Whis.
So in this continuity, Towa is not related in any way to Dabura.
No. I wouldn't think so. And I would definitely have them, because they saw what happened in the other two universes. They get kind of greedy, and they, like everyone else in Dragon Ball Z, go after the Dragon Balls, just pure Dragon Ball style. Like, everyone always is searching for the Dragon Balls. They're the main MacGuffin that drives the story, one way or the other. So them using the cube that they've already introduced and traveling into Universe 7 and maybe stopping it, at Earth because of whatever reason, just because that's the way Dragon Ball works.
And that could give Gohan a chance to shine for a
second. Exactly. And he gives a chance to shine, and then that alerts everyone else, and then we just have this basically a universal war that is so devastating, because we've already introduced the universe breaking into this story that it just breaks the universe, but they win because of fusion or whatnot that's been kind of introduced. And you have Vegeta, the one thing that needs to happen is Vegeta loses Bulma. Bulma has to die in this situation. I'm sorry, it has to happen, because Vegeta has to make the wish with the Super Dragon Balls that they find later to reverse time all the way back to the beginning of Super and basically erase everything that's happened, because that's what needs to be done, because it's so devastating.
Yeah, but I just want to say, I made that joke on a Q&A once or recently. I was like, it would be funny if they wished that Beerus had never woken up, and then the entire series was just one big like alternate fantasy universe that never happened. You're adding an extra arc to it and saying that Vegeta instead makes the wish, retroactively removing the revival of Frieza, removing SS Blue, removing everything that we've learned, Hit, all that stuff, and essentially going back to just the core story of like as if it never happened, as if Battle of Gods never happened.
And the reason I think that this is poetic, especially for Vegeta, and why Vegeta needs to do this actual wish, and I know Toriyama will never do this, but he needs to make that wish, because the one thing that Super has really done to piss me off and a lot of people is that he hasn't added Brawl to the story, and that her presence would do nothing to harm the presence of the story unless there was a reason that he kept it away. So if by that retroactively taking away everything that happened in Super, Vegeta would have to give up all of his power that he's earned to actually be on par with Goku, which he kind of denounced at the end of Z. So which he denounces at the end of Z, so he would actually retroactively denounce all that power again, going directly against what he told Kaba in episode 37, that your Saiyan pride is based on your strength, and you shouldn't give up on your strength, and you shouldn't take away your strength. But he does it for Bulma because he loves Bulma, and he has had a whole lot of character development with Bulma over the course of this series. So having Vegeta kind of step up and be the one who actually makes that wish, whether Goku knows it or not, would be incredibly satisfying for me.
It would miss DBZ Babe, Donica. They're all like loving this idea right now. I actually like it too. I love the idea. I don't see Toriyama doing that because it's almost like Toriyama keeps things very light, so that's almost like too deep of a story. I like it. I love it. It's just too deep of a story for Dragon Ball, but it's still something that I like. So, I mean, hell, if he does that, that would be insane. I mean, that's going to be the most polarizing ending to Super that I could ever think of, something like that. Let us know, folks watching this video, what do you think of Reel2Reel's theory? What do you think about the other 4 theories? Do you think, it's possible that any of these could happen? And of course, give us your theories down below. I'm expecting about 10 comments about Broly. No, you're not funny. Leave your comments down below. We'll take a look at them. Maybe we'll even do a follow-up community video on it. And of course, check out Reel2Reel's channel.
Thank you, Geekdom. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, and I'll catch you down the road.